It's Wulf, and it's another Waddle Forever tutorial. This time we are back on Linux, and in this video I'm going to show you guys a workaround to use mods on the Linux version of Waddle Forever, because currently the built-in mod menu for Waddle Forever seems to be broken. When I made my tutorial about how to install mods on the Windows version of Waddle Forever, I mentioned at the end that the process for Windows for installing mods doesn't work currently on Linux, even though in theory it's set up the same way. For some reason, using the mod menu in the Linux version just gives an error, and I actually spent a couple hours myself trying to figure out if I could troubleshoot this somehow or like make some sort of workaround, and I really couldn't figure anything out. I don't really know how to code that much or anything, so this is my way of doing mods for now in Linux. It's pretty much doing what the mod manager does in the Windows version, but just doing it yourself, so you've got to be kind of careful with it because it could screw up your installation of Waddle Forever. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is actually start the game to just kind of show you guys what we're going to do here. So game's server is up and running. I'm going to go ahead and open it. I just want to kind of demonstrate to you guys what I think is causing the issue. So the game loads up and everything and works fine normally aside from mods, but the thing is I've noticed that a bunch of the settings over here don't necessarily seem to work. So I don't actually have any mods in the mods folder, but in the Windows version of this video I showed at the end how an error would pop up when I tried to use that. But alongside that, I've noticed that just in general, the options up here don't necessarily seem to work. So if I try to go to the Halloween party, for example, and let me log in. See, there's not Halloween party going on. It's still the same default party. So I think there's some sort of something wrong with the with these various mod menus and setting menus right now in the Linux version. I think that they're just not translating over to however the Linux version is set up. I don't really know what exactly is wrong, so unfortunately I can't really give any advice on how to fix it. But hopefully if one of the developers of Waddle Forever sees this, they'll know better what to do. But for right now, if you are determined to use mods on the Linux version, there is still a way to do so, but it's just not the best way. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do the usual using the little pump as Sensei mod because it's one of the easiest ones to demonstrate. So right now, currently, if we go into the dojo, Sensei is Sensei, nothing different is happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down. And what we are actually going to be doing is replacing the Swift file ourselves. So that's what the mod manager does in the Windows version of Waddle Forever, and what it's supposed to be doing in the Linux version is when you check a box, it's replacing a file in the actual where the game itself is getting its files from. It replaces whatever file the mod is for with the file that's in the mods folder. So we're going to be kind of doing that directly. Like I said, you got to be careful with this though because it could screw up your game because you might not be able to revert it. So actually the very first thing that I would suggest to do is actually make a backup of some important Waddle Forever folders. So mainly you're just going to want to make a backup of, well, it depends on what you're modifying. If you're modifying anything else than I show in this video, you should probably also back up that stuff. But I'd say you're going to want to pretty much mostly just back up this play folder. So again, that is in Waddle Forever in media, static, and then this play folder, because that's where a lot of your mods are going to be. So I'm just going to copy and paste this entire folder. There we go. This entire folder into my backups thing. So now if anything ever gets screwed up with this, in theory, you should be able to just delete this play folder that's in the actual Waddle Forever files and replace it with this backed up one. So next, I'm going to go in Downloads, and I already have the Little Pump Sensei mod downloaded, so I'm just going to drag that to the desktop to make it easy. And then we're going to go ahead and go back into Waddle Forever. And so the Little Pump Sensei mod works by replacing the dojo Swift entirely. So the whole Swift file for the room of the dojo. Luckily, a lot of mods that you're going to find for Waddle Forever or also CPSC. They are set up in a way to where it replaces like file structure stuff, so it actually shows you in here what you're going to need to replace starting from the play folder. So if we go back to where the play folder was, you'll see that this has the same like file structure. So if we click through here, we need to go into play, and then v2, and then content, global, rooms, and we have a dojo Swift. So if we go ahead and we delete this dojo Swift out of the actual game's files and replace it with this modified one, there we go. Actually, probably would be better to copy and paste this rather than move the original whole actual file. So now we have our dojo Swift replaced. So let's go ahead and start the game back up once again. Go back in here, go into terminal, start the server. Server's up. Back in here. Open the app image of the actual game. And now the game is started. So now if we go over to the dojo, you will see that Little Pump is Sensei. So the mod installation has worked correctly. The only thing is now, if we want to revert back to the original dojo, the original Little Pumpless dojo, we're going to need to replace that file again with the original dojo file, which is why I made a backup earlier of the entire play file. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. So we're going to go ahead and close out of everything once again. Close out of our Little Pump folder. Never did I think Little Pump would appear in so many Club Penguin videos of mine. So, open up Waddle Forever. Go into Media, Static, and I'm not going to replace the entire play folder since we just replaced one file, but I'm just going to go ahead and back into the rooms and open up our Waddle Forever backups. I'm going to go ahead and delete this modified dojo Swift file. Go back into here. Grab the dojo out of this one. And now we should be good to go once again. So start this up once again. Server is up again. Open up the actual app image. One other thing too to note that is worth noting on both the Windows and Linux version of Waddle Forever is sometimes you might need to clear the cache of the game if you've added a modded file and for some reason it didn't show up, or if you've replaced a file back to the original version and it didn't show up. So I'm just going to do that quick. I don't even know if I need to because it seemed like putting the modded file in the first time didn't require it, so I don't know if I would have that time, but it's a good idea to do that if you're playing with the files, so that way the game kind of knows where to grab stuff from instead of like always grabbing it from the cache. So back into the dojo, and Sensei is back to normal Sensei again. So that is a relatively quick way to work around the currently broken mod menu on the Linux version of Waddle Forever. I don't really have a doubt that eventually that will get fixed, but if you are playing this on Linux and you want to use mods, this is probably the best way to do so right now. Again though, be careful with it because you could accidentally end up replacing one of the files in the game with something and then not being able to easily like replace it back to the original. This is, again, pretty much doing exactly what the mod manager actually does on the Windows version, but just doing it manually. So thank you guys for watching. In the future, I'd like to make another video for both, well, at least for Windows, probably one also for Linux though, about how to make more complicated mods and like how to make mods yourself actually for Waddle Forever and not just installing them, because really there's not that many mods for this out there. I already have some tutorials on this type of stuff though, over when I made some videos about CPSC, and most of the stuff on CPSC is the same as it is on Waddle Forever, so even though they're kind of outdated, you could watch those and probably still glean something from them. So anyway, thanks for watching this tutorial. Hopefully it helped some of you guys out with using mods on the Linux version of Waddle Forever, and I'll see you in other stuff in the future. Bye-bye.